Hello, hello, beautiful badass, and welcome to episode number 35 of the Magic is in You podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I am so grateful that you are here tuning in, tapping in, and turning on the magic that is already within inside of you. My name is Kelsey Holmes. I am the women's empowerment coach behind the Magic is in You podcast, and I'm so grateful you are here today. Please let me know if this is your very first episode. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my gosh, let me know. Shoot me a DM on Instagram at Kelsey the Adventurer. Or if this is your 35th episode, oh my gosh, I have so much fucking gratitude. Thank you so much for being here, for tuning in, tapping and turning on your magic, for prioritizing the relationship that you have with yourself and creating and cultivating a relationship that feels good, nourishing, helpful, empowering for yourself within yourself. Today, we are talking about aligned action and how aligned action alleviates anxiety. So the other day, I was at a in-person entrepreneurial networking event here locally, and we were chatting about some of the things that we kind of got into like breakout groups, and we were chatting about some of the challenges people were experiencing in their business. And one of the things that was kind of a theme throughout this group, there was like 12 or 15 of us sitting around in a round table. One of the themes was something that was challenging was what next steps to take in the business, or like what's the next right step in business. And as we were chatting about this, it was kind of like I said, round table. The antidote to what next steps was action, right? And as we talked, we were discussing about how action, taking an action, whether it's right or wrong, gives you feedback, right? And we all kind of know this, right? So action, you take an action, for example, in your business or in your life, and whether that it was the right or wrong action, you get feedback one way or the other. You take an action and it's the right action, you're like, sweet, I get to move in this direction. Or if you take an action and you turns out it wasn't necessarily the exact right action that you wanted to take, or it didn't work quite the way you wanted, it gives you feedback for you to be able to readjust and refocus and be like, oh, okay, that didn't quite work the way I wanted it. So I'm going to move in this direction, or I'm going to pivot to this direction. And something that we didn't talk enough about, though, however, was before you actually take action, is allowing yourself to cultivate and I don't want to say find, but cultivate and really feel into, that's a better way to say it. Cultivate and really feel into what is an aligned next action step. And there's a difference between right and aligned, right? Because a quote unquote right action could look perfect on paper. It could look like, oh, XYZ has done it this way and it worked for them. It should work for me, right? Versus aligned action, which oftentimes doesn't make sense to somebody outside of your business or outside of you or outside of your life. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever asked for somebody's advice, for example, and you kind of knew what you wanted to do, but you were asking almost as though you needed that reassurance from somebody else, somebody outside of you? Because let's face it, owning your own business is full of challenges. And sometimes it's nice to just like be able to ask somebody, like, what the fuck should I do here and now? But really, when they tell you, oh, you should really do this, you have that like gut reaction of like, oh, that's actually not aligned for me. But then you do it anyway. And then you learn in real time, oh, I should have listened to my gut, because the quote unquote right action might look good on paper, but the aligned action is where we have our energy behind it. It's where we have our intention behind it. It's where we are magically and divinely guided within this greater scope of existence, not just the right on paper, but this is the energetic alignment action that we take. And when we allow ourselves to take aligned, energetically aligned action, that is actually what creates more feedback, what moves the needle better. It's what moves the needle in the direction that we truly desire to go. It's in what moves the needle in what we truly desire to grow, right? And so when we're talking about how aligned action alleviates anxiety, if you're sitting in this inaction state, it's kind of like a bunch of energy just buzzing around in a box, like with nowhere to go. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do. And that creates more and more anxiety, right? Anxiety is an energy in the body that we experience in our body. But if we allow ourselves to take a breath, be with the feeling, the buzzing energy within inside of ourselves, and then allow ourselves to ask ourselves, what's the next aligned step? Allow ourselves to intuit the answer in our body, in our being, in our energy, and then take the action. This is a magical way to create in your business, in your life, in your experience of this world. Because even though it might not feel or like look on the outside perspective as though it makes sense, so many times, like time and 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 time again, when I have done this, when I have allowed myself to be in the buzzing energy and ask myself, what's the next aligned action to take? And when I actually take it, the needle moves every single time. When I allow myself to sit with myself, tune in, tap into my energy, my magic, and then ask myself, what's the next aligned action? Every single time it moves the needle in a direction that I'm excited about. Every single time it moves the needle in a direction that alleviates that buzzy, anxious energy within inside of myself because I'm actually moving, right? Anxiety is this like pent up energy within inside of ourselves that needs movement in some way, shape, or form, whether that's an action in your business or perhaps you physically move your body. I know for me, movement practice, like my yoga practice and somatic practices that I do for myself and that I work with my clients on, are hugely empowering for me to alleviate anxiety and come into that aligned state so that I can then take the next aligned action forward. And not every time was I like, oh, that worked out just like it I thought it would in my head. But every single time I'm like, oh my gosh, that worked out uh, beyond what I could have imagined it in my head. That pointed me in this other direction. That gave me this other momentum. It's amazing how, even though we don't necessarily have it worked out on paper, how that aligned action always moves the needle towards more alignment. So if you are feeling anxious today, allow yourself, maybe move your body, and then ask yourself, tune in, take a couple deep breaths, one hand on your heart, one hand on your solar plexus, right below your sternum, and take a couple deep breaths. What's the next aligned action I can take? And then allow yourself, when you ask yourself that question, you'll automatically answer yourself, because when we ask ourselves any question in our head, we automatically answer ourselves. Allow yourself to answer yourself and then take the aligned action. No matter how crazy, no matter how weird, off the wall it sounds in your head, allow yourself to take that next aligned action. And that action will give you feedback. That action will also allow your anxiety to come down. It'll alleviate your anxiety. And with the feedback and a clearer head, a more embodied energy within yourself, you make more impact, you make more progress in the direction that you desire to grow. So ask yourself today, what is my next aligned action? Allow yourself to tune in, tap in, receive the answer from yourself. And when you're asking yourself a question and receiving the answer from yourself, you are creating a reciprocal energy flow within yourself already, because you are asking for this, right? And then you are giving yourself the answer. This is part of the reciprocal energy flow. So cultivate this reciprocal energy flow. Allow yourself to intuit the answer. Allow yourself to take the aligned action, and allow yourself to be surprised, delighted, and excited about the feedback that you get. Remembering that feedback is neutral, it's not negative or positive. It's just giving you information for where you're growing. And if you want more empowerment around cultivating this energy within inside of yourself, cultivating aligned energy over and over and over, cultivating the trust within yourself so that you can trust that intuition, that aligned hit that you have when you ask yourself these questions. currently have a one-on-one spot in Elevate You, my 3-month transformational coaching experience where I combine subconscious reprogramming, intentional mindset work, as well as somatic embodiment work so that you can tune and tap and turn on the magic within inside of yourself, knowing yourself, trusting yourself, loving yourself so that you can create and grow in the direction that you desire to go in a way that feels aligned and empowered within yourself. So you can click the link below to apply or shoot me an email or it's hello@kelseyholmes.com, or feel free to reach out on Instagram at Kelsey the Adventure. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I hope you have so much fun taking this aligned action within yourself, within your body, within your being. And tell me how it goes. Shoot me a DM on Instagram and tell me that you tried this, tried asking yourself, what the next aligned action would be for yourself. And then tell me like what it felt like when you actually let yourself intuit the answer, when you actually took the action that cultivated the movement, moving the needle, that gave yourself the feedback of figuring out which direction and how the flow is going to go for you. Let me know how it flows for you. I'm so excited to connect with you. Thank you again so much for being here, and in love, light, and so much gratitude. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace.